What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 169. I'll start today's episode off with some player training and also a couple of transfer offers here for our young players who I don't anticipate to have much potential whatsoever because they've got no potential tags next to their names in the status screen. As you can see here, RB came in for our Portuguese right back, 63 rated and 20 years old, and also Robin Breitkruse, who I'm desperately trying to sell, 22 years old, 67 rated, and we've got a ton of midfielders here at Bayer Leverkusen. There's very little chance he'll ever play for us in the future at all. But for our first game of today's episode, as you see a brief look at the league table there, we take on RB Leipzig away at the Red Bull Arena right now. One of three teams starting the Bundesliga season off still undefeated and sitting in the top three. As for us, as you see, just the 3 wins in our first 5 games, already a defeat next to our name as well. It's been quite a tough beginning for Bayer Leverkusen, sat in 7th place right now. And again, whilst we've not been asked to win the title this season, that's my objective. I'd still like to have an outside shot at doing it. And of course, we need to finish in the top 4, and therefore we need to pick our form up. And on the back of our victory over Borussia Mönchengladbach, heading into this game away in Leipzig, I was hoping to inflict their first defeat on them this season and get a big win here on the road. But just 6 minutes in, we fell behind early. Rafael Leao converting a cross from close range, making it 1-0. And I really struggled in the first half. Luna made a great save here on Mason Mount to keep it at 1-0 just before the break, as I was really struggling to contain RB Leipzig as we were still trailing by the goal. And I hadn't got forward at all and had any kind of chance whatsoever. I couldn't break Leipzig down, but just before half time, as Tony storms down the right, he steps inside a reverse step over, goes for goal, the shot ricochets off Tyler Kehrer, and we get a very fortunate bounce here as the deflection loops up into the sky, and Kai Havertz, Bayer Leverkusen captain, drills it in and makes it 1-0. Makes it 1-1, as the visitors get back on level terms. Very fortunate goal, that one. First minute shot takes a massive deflection as it balloons up in the sky, and Havertz, the skipper, turns it in to make it 1-1. So back on level terms. In the second half, I really struggled for chances again. I just couldn't seem to break down RB Leipzig. The only real chance in the second half fell there as well, and it came to us as Kurzweg off the bench went forward, but was denied by the goalkeeper, and that was how the game would finish. Final score, RB Leipzig 1, Bayer Leverkusen 1. And you know, in the past 3 seasons with Roma and Atletico Madrid, when we had results like this, I would bemoan the scoreline and say, oh, we didn't take our chances, and you know, draws are basically defeats in this year's career mode. We've got to win those sort of games, you know. But with Bayer Leverkusen, no, I'm going to be more casual and more optimistic this time, because again, we don't need to win the title. With Roma and Atletico, the pressure was on right from the very first season, but that's the benefit of joining Leverkusen here. We don't need to win the title, so a draw away against undefeated RB Leipzig, who right now sit in the top 3, that's a good result. I'll take that. I'll definitely take that. So I'm pleased with that draw there. It might not be all 3, but I'll take the point and call it a good one. So 1-1 the final score, and not a bad result given the circumstances whatsoever. But following that, I did decide to offer some new contracts to our players. Obviously, a couple of you had pointed this out in the comment section down below. Some of our stars needed new deals, such as Andre Lunin and of course the captain Kai Havertz as well. I delegated these to the chief exec, and I also gave 2 contracts to our young players as well. Banza, a French midfielder, and also Rowan Schenkveld as well. Both of these players in their early 20s, and both show great potential as well. So I'm glad they'll be staying here, and I could give them some minutes this season. Good to see them tie their futures, get their futures tied down here, as we decide not to cash in on them and keep them here for another good few years. So yeah, we'll see how those guys look. And you know, some of you guys have been asking me as well throughout the course of not just this career mode, but the past couple of career modes, why I don't delegate my negotiations to the chief executive. Because of course, as you know, when you delegate a negotiation, a contract negotiation to a chief executive, you don't have to pay a sign-on fee. You only have to pay for the wages, and that's it. The reason I don't do it is quite simply because I like to do the animation myself. I know it does mean I have to pay a sign-on fee to do that, but I just quite like to do it. It is one of the few new features in career mode over the past couple of years that are kind of cool. So yeah, that's the reason I do it myself ordinarily. But for this time, I delegated to the chief exec because it's just contract negotiation and not signing a new player. And yeah, there you go. But still, for the second of 3 games in today's episode, we would return back to the Bayer Arena as we would take on Monaco in match day 2 in the Champions League on the back of our victory victory away in Ukraine against Dynamo Kiev in match day 1. Now, I do anticipate these will be the two sides that qualify for the knockout stages and finish 1 and 2. It just depends who wins the group and who finishes runners-up. I don't mind if we finish in second, but I did say when the groups were drawn, I think we're favourites to win this one. So heading into the game, I wanted to get another win notched up and make it 2 from 2 in Europe. And I got to say this right now, I'm liking the look of this kid. Very early into the game, Monaco had a goal correctly ruled out for offside, but a few minutes later, we would take the lead, and it was Kurzweg who got the goal. Now, this is a 78 rated 23-year-old Cam that can also play CM as well. I've given him some minutes to start the season off, and I must say, from what I've seen of him, he looks really, really good indeed. Gets his first goal of the season there after a lovely bending effort into the far corner, nestles into the back of the net and makes it 1-0, and he almost got an assist as well not long afterwards as Zabala, so close to his first goal for the club, smacks the crossbar as it was still 1-0. But despite Monaco's disallowed goal, we had been the better team in the first half, and just before the hour mark, we would make it 2. And speaking about youngsters that are really impressing me, Foreign-back, he came off the bench on match day 1 away in Ukraine and scored that lovely goal, and then he jumped over the advertising hornets to celebrate there with the travelling fans when he made it 2-0. He made it 2-0 in this game as well, also coming off the bench at half-time. It's 2-2 for Foreign-back, the ex-Hamburg winger, 20 years old. We signed him from Hamburg in the summer, and that's, again, 2 goals in 2 Champions League games, both coming from the bench. He looks very impressive indeed after Kurzweg played him forward to a goal and assist for our German Cam there. And yeah, I must say the future is very bright here at Bayer Leverkusen with some of the young German talent we got. It's not all about Schwartz and Eihorst, the German pillow, and Tim Ram as well. Don't forget these lads as well, Ram and Foreign-back. Kurzweg and Foreign-back. They look really good as well. But still, following some sales after the game, as you can see, Jorge Mera came to me and said, "Boss, it's not working out for me here, and I think it's time I moved on. I'm an ambitious person who needs regular first-team football to achieve my dreams. I'd like a transfer." And I said, I'm sorry it came to this, but it was inevitable, and it was inevitable as well. Jorge Mera demands a move away from Leverkusen as he requests a transfer, and whilst it was a bit of a shock to the system, I didn't think it was going to come so early. It was inevitable that at some point we would move the Spaniard on. He's now 29 years old, and I believe due to turn 30 during the season as well. Leandro and Emmanuel Aya are our top 2 centre-halves here, the Brazilian and the Italian young early 20-year-olds. And of course, we've got Sebastian Schwartz waiting in the wing, who I've given some game time to this season and been very impressed by him. Mera might be our joint highest rated at 85 overall, but he does want more first-team football. And with only a year and a half left in his contract, it was again, sooner rather than later, he would be moving on from the club. And with the emergence of Sebastian Schwartz, who's kept 3 clean sheets in 4 games, and I do feel very confident when using him as well, despite his low overall rating, I'm okay letting Mera go. So yeah, Mera is going to be leaving, most likely in the January transfer window, and again, I'm okay with that. The Spaniard might be the joint highest rated player here, but we want to make this Bayer Leverkusen side younger and more athletic. So like we did with Laporte last season at Atletico Madrid, I'm not against selling him and bringing in a younger centre-half to replace him with in January. And speaking of a bid for Mera, one comes here a few days after he gets put on the transfer list. At 85 rated, I knew for sure there'd be at least one big club putting in a bid for him before January, and just a few days after he gets put on the list and put in the shop window, Paris Saint-Germain come to me and say, "How much do you want for Jorge Mera?" So I said to them, there's no reason for me to sell him in January if I don't want to. He's under contract for another season, so if I want, I can go into next season and still have him here. But I said to PSG, if you give us £44 million, you can take him. They declined my first bid of 46 mil, but they accepted the second one. 44 mil for Jorge Mera, who's valued at £29 million and is due to turn 30 this season as well. I think that's a really good fee negotiated there with the French side. So 44 million for Jorge Mera. He'll be joining up at the Parc des Princes in January, and we'll be looking for a new signing to bring in the January transfer window. If you've got any suggestions for me, let me know in the comment section down below. But I would like someone a little bit younger and someone more athletic as well. I've got a few targets on my shortlist right now. Any more suggestions though, do let me know. And yeah, we'll look to replace Mera in the January window with a younger, more athletic centre-back to play as part of our 3-man back line. Still for the third and final game of today's episode, we remain at the Bayer Arena, but return to matters here in the Bundesliga as we will take on one of my former career mode sides. Yes, Hamburg coming to take us on here at the Bayer Arena as we look to return to winning ways in the Bundesliga. Had a great start in the first half as well, Tony hitting the post early, but then making it 1-0 right before the break as he continues his very good start to life here in Germany. And just after the restart, 9 minutes into the second half, oh yeah, talking about great starts to life in Germany, Barry Walsh, man's on fire. Barry Walsh is our second highest scorer in this Bayer Leverkusen side. Makes it 2-0, getting on the end of a lovely Shaw move down the left-hand side. And speaking of Ollie Shaw, he not only set up our second goal, but set up our third goal as well. Hadn't had an assist since match day 1 in the Bundesliga. Now gets 2 in the same game as he sets up his boys. First Barry Walsh and then Ivan Toney. It's so nice when Shaw gets an assist and it goes for Ivan Toney or Barry Walsh, particularly Ivan Toney. He sets them both up in this game as Toney gets his 5th goal in the Bundesliga and we make it 3-0. So great performance here against my former career mode side. If Cesar Valente was in goal, we probably wouldn't be 3-0 up here, but we were cruising to victory, leading by 3. Unfortunately though, couldn't hold on to the clean sheet. We've only had 1 clean sheet to start the season off. That came on match day 1. I just can't seem to defend right now. I'm not very good using this system defensively, as Hamburg would get a goal here playing a bit of head tennis, making it 3-1, but it was just a consolation. We held on to the victory. That's the most important thing. Final score, Leverkusen 3, Hamburg 1. So it's been quite a tough start for Bayer Leverkusen with 4 wins in 7 games, but hopefully we are going to start picking it up now. Back-to-back victories in all competitions, and with some big games to come, including Bayern Munich at the end of this month. If we can be in the top 4 before we head into that clash, that's my aim, as I still want to be in a title race this season. Right now, we're not even in a European place. But that will end today's episode of Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy today's episode, then please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Career Mode very soon.